But right now, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the big story of the morning. The background is that the Jamaican government has blocked a motion to investigate Prime Minister Andrew Holness's financial affairs despite recommendations from the Integrity Commission. The motion, tabled by opposition members Julian Robinson and Philip Paulwell, aimed to refer the investigation to the Financial Investigations Division, FID, and the Tax Administration of Jamaica, the TAJ. The government's decision has raised concerns about transparency, accountability, and the disregard of checks and balances for political reasons. Joining me this morning is the spokesman, the opposition spokesman on finance, Julian Robinson, and to whom we say good morning. Mr. Robinson, good morning and welcome.
Morning, Richie B, and morning to your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Were you disappointed with the approach taken by the government members yesterday, and what will be your modus operandi going forward?
I would say I wasn't surprised. They had publicly indicated that they didn't believe the matter should be referred to the FID. But I think it's important to understand the background of the recommendation by the Integrity Commission.
Yes.
The Integrity Commission, in the special report tabled in Parliament, said they could not come to a definitive conclusion on the matter of illicit enrichment because there was information that they requested of the Prime Minister related to his expenses that were not provided. And in the context of not having that information, they couldn't come to a definitive conclusion, nor could they certify his statutory declarations. Now, within the context of this uncertainty, they asked Parliament to support the recommendation to go to the FID so that the FID could complete the investigation. Now, the FID has powers that the Integrity Commission doesn't have, right? The Integrity Commission may ask a declarant for information and not get it. The FID can compel because it has the powers of what a constable would have in dealing with financial crimes. So, given that they're saying they can't come to closure, they're asking the FID. And I felt it was important that Parliament support the recommendation of the Integrity Commission and ensure that the matter goes to the FID. And the FID, hopefully, in short order, will come to a conclusion one way or another on this. So, I don't think it looks good, frankly, for the government to be opposed to something which is aiming to bring finality to a matter which has been, if you want to say 3 years, the Prime Minister's declarations have not been certified for 3 years. I would think you want to bring finality one way or another to it so that the matter can be closed.
The fact that it has taken so long, one would have thought that the Integrity Commission would have been able to finalize on this matter. What does that say about the efficiency and so on that resides at the Integrity Commission?
Let me say two things.
Yes.
It's important to make a distinction. There were two investigations. The first investigation related to the Prime Minister related to the failure to declare 4 bank accounts. After that, that was referred to the Director of Corruption Prosecution, who made a decision, and that matter was closed. She said she didn't believe there was sufficient evidence to proceed with prosecution. The second investigation relates to the matter of illicit enrichment. So even though it's been 3 years, it's been 2 separate investigations. And on the matter of illicit enrichment, having done the work that they did, having engaged external parties to assist them, they have said they cannot conclude because they don't have all the information to conclude. Now, in an environment like that where they have said they can't conclude, then I believe it is in everybody's interest to have finality on the matter. Mm-hmm. And that is why they recommended the referral. And that's why we support their recommendation of the referral. So the matter can be closed one way or another. And we know whether the Prime Minister is, in fact, in good order with his statutory declarations or not, or whether he has been found wanting on the issue of illicit enrichment or not. What they are saying is they can't go any further based on the powers that they have and the lack of information that has been provided.
So can this block that was put up, was it yesterday, can that be circumvented? Is there a way around it?
Well, put it this way, the matter has been referred. So let me be clear. The Integrity Commission has the power on the law to refer a matter to the FID, right? It asks for Parliament support. I don't believe that, in spite of the motion not passing, that it can prevent the referral from taking place, because the Integrity Commission Act gives them the power to refer to any body outside of the Integrity Commission in the completion of an investigation.
Julian, I wanted to ask you, I mean, what do you see as the potential consequences of this government's decision to block the motion, and especially as it impacts the people of the country, and what are you picking up from the street?
I don't think it looks good, frankly. What you have seen from the government is you're seeing members attacking the Integrity Commission that started from last year. Further to that, you're seeing people questioning actually the integrity of the members of the Integrity Commission, which I find very unfortunate, because when you look at the composition of the commissioners, you have somebody who, Seymour Panton, retired Court of Appeal judge, Justice Hibbert, the Auditor General, Mr. Powell, and Mr. Crawford, all people who have excelled in their respective professions, have gotten to the top of their professions, and for whom there's never been a question mark about their own integrity, their impartiality, or the way they have conducted themselves. So I find it very unfortunate that people are questioning their integrity. Now, I do believe it is legitimate to ask questions about the process. I think that is legitimate, because nobody should be above being held accountable. And the Integrity Commission, as a body of parliament, parliamentarians can ask questions legitimately. But what we're seeing is, from the government side, is attacks on the Integrity Commission. You saw that people went to the office to demonstrate, organized by GLP supporters, and you're seeing these comments, which, in my view, are unfortunate, coming from senior ministers of government questioning their integrity. That I find unfortunate, and I think a distinction has to be made between legitimate questions about a process, which I support, but attacking an institution which has served the nation, and the people on that institution have never been brought into question simply because you don't like what the report says, in my view, is very unfortunate.
As a party, is the PNP looking at ways to prevent similar blocking of investigations in the future?
Well, you can't. I mean, the composition of the Integrity Commission, like all the Oversight Committee, like all parliamentary committees, the composition is based on the composition in Parliament. So there are 2 opposition members and about 7 or 8 government members. So they have the majority. You can't do much about that unless you amend standing orders. And that is the case with all the parliamentary committees. I chair PAC, there are 3 opposition members, 12 government members. The same with all committees. So unless you look at the standing orders, so in the case of a lopsided parliament, which we have now, that you have greater balance with the committees, we are certainly committed to ensuring that all committees are chaired by opposition members, because we believe that's in the best interest of good governance. So that's something that we are committed to. But as I said, and just to make it clear, in spite of the motion, the Integrity Commission Act allows the Integrity Commission to refer any matter either to the FID or any other body that it deems appropriate in the furtherance of an investigation.
We saw survey results coming out suggesting that the Prime Minister might be leading a government that is heavy on corruption, based on what the surveys are showing. It obviously would not escape the attention of the People's National Party. How, as a party, do you view these findings, and how will you address them going forward in terms of the matter of corruption and transparency and accountability and so on?
Well, the findings are not surprising. Within the context of, we know that there are 8 parliamentarians who are under investigation for illicit enrichment. When it was fixed, the opposition leader asked every single opposition parliamentarian to confirm with him whether he or she was under investigation. All 22, the 14 in the lower house and the 8 in the Senate, all said none of us was under investigation. When a similar question was asked of the government, the JLP, they resorted to a gag order on their members so that their members could not speak. Similarly, when the matter of the signing the Integrity Code of Conduct came up, every single opposition parliamentarian signed it. No government member has signed it to date. And the code of conduct was just basically a document saying that you commit to abiding by certain principles in how you conduct yourself in public life. Not one government member has signed it. So I'm saying, when you look at the approach to issues of good governance, you have had on the one hand, on the side of the opposition, an openness, a willingness to engage with the Integrity Commission, committing ourselves to principles of good governance. On the other side, you see gag orders being imposed on people not to speak. So it can be surprising to us that if a poll shows that a significant number of Jamaicans view the government in this way. It's not something to take comfort in because, frankly, people tend to view politicians across the board, not just one side. People tend to be labeled with one brush. So it's not something which necessarily helps us on this side. But, the opposition leader has been very clear that, he's going to lead a government of integrity and that the persons who serve under him will have to abide by certain standards of good governance. And he has made that very clear to everybody who is in the opposition right now.
Mm-hmm. My final question this morning, Mr. Robinson, based on where we are now, will the PNP consider any alternative method whatsoever to investigate the Prime Minister's financial affairs?
Well, we don't have the power. All we can do is continue to advocate. The matter has been referred to the FID. We think due process should be allowed. Pressure shouldn't be brought to bear on the national institutions that have the responsibility for bringing finality to this matter. We believe we have a responsibility to protect those institutions because they are national institutions and they are here to uphold standards of governance. So our position will be to continue to stand up on the side of good governance, openness, and transparency. And we will continue to do so.
All right. Thank you very much for talking with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. That's, of course, opposition spokesman on finance, Julian Robinson, joining us there in the big story. This matter is just not going away. And it is a big story. So we have to make sure that we get all the parties. And I'm not making reference necessarily to political parties, but as many of the parties involved as possible to express their views and to share their thoughts and their positions so that you, the members of the public, can get a chance to properly assess and come to a conclusion as to what you see. And maybe even beyond that, who you will support going forward to the next general elections. So these are very, very important matters, matters you'd say of concern to many in our country, Jamaica. And again, we thank Mr. Julian Robinson for coming on this morning and speaking on this matter with us, the matter of the government members blocking the investigation into Prime Minister Holness's finances being referred to the Financial Investigations Division and the Tax Administration of Jamaica.